Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel Lawyer Stuffs. This is Sulagna Dutta and today we are going to discuss the landmark judgment of Indira Gandhi versus Raj Narain. To begin with, let us quickly brush through the facts of the case. Raj Narain had contested the 1971 Indian general elections against Indira Gandhi, who represented the constituency of Raebareli in the Lok Sabha, which is the lower house of the Indian Parliament. Gandhi was re-elected from Raebareli by a 2-1 margin of popular vote, and an Indian National Congress party won with a sweeping majority in the Indian Parliament. Narain filed a petition against this verdict, alleging that Indira Gandhi had used unfair means, government machinery, and bribery to gain an unfair advantage in the elections. It further stated that Gandhi was responsible for using government employees as election agents and organizing campaigns in her constituency while still being on the payroll of the current government. On June 12, 1975, the High Court of Allahabad, speaking under Justice Jagmohan Lal Sinha, found Indira Gandhi guilty of misusing government machinery under Section 123, Clause 7 of the Representation of People's Act of 1951. Therefore, the court held that Indira Gandhi cannot continue as the Prime Minister of the nation. Further, she cannot contest elections for the following 6 years. Aggrieved by this decision, Indira Gandhi approached the Apex Court, that is the Supreme Court of India. However, the Supreme Court, being in vacation at that point of time, granted a conditional stay on execution of the order. Thereafter, a state of emergency was declared by the then President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad, citing internal disturbance. But the real reason that led to the emergency was the High Court judgment in Raj Narain versus Uttar Pradesh. Let us now discuss the issues involved in the case. The first issue being that of the constitutional validity of the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1975. Coming to this issue, the arguments forwarded by the respondent argued that the said amendment was violative of the basic features of the Constitution. The respondent relied on the 7-judge bench decision delivered in Keshav Nanda Bharti case. The respondent argued that Article 368 does not empower the Parliament to amend the Constitution so as to decide who wins and who loses an election. Further, Article 14 of our Constitution guarantees equality before law and equal protection of the law. So, the President, by passing such a law, has placed the people above law, which is not justified. Coming to the arguments forwarded by the petitioner, the first one being that the majority decision in Keshav Nanda Bharti case cannot be treated as an authority here to decide if elections would be free, fair, and without judicial review. Further, it was argued by the petitioner that both the cases, that is Keshav Nanda Bharti and Shankari Prasad, did not cover the ambit of electoral disputes but was restricted to the meaning of the word amendment. The major cases cited here in this judgment are Raj Narain versus State of Uttar Pradesh, Keshav Nanda Bharti versus State of Kerala, Shankari Prasad versus the Union of India, Minerva Mills Limited and others versus Union of India, and IC Golaknath and others versus the State of Punjab and another. Coming to the most crucial part of this discussion, that is the judgment of the case. The court gave its decision on November 7, 1975. It must be kept in mind that this was the first case when the landmark decision of Keshav Nanda Bharti was applied by the Apex Court of India. The Apex Court upheld the contention of the petitioner and declared that the impugned Clause 4 of Article 329A was unconstitutional. Chief Justice Ray found another basic feature violated by the said amendment, that is the rule of law, whereas Justice Khanna found the violation of the norms of free and fair elections. The bench also found that the said amendment violated the principles of natural justice, that is, odi ordinam partem, since it denies the right of fair hearing who is challenging the election of the members mentioned under the amendment. The arguments forwarded by the petitioner in the instant case. The first argument being majority decision in Keshav Nanda Bharti in this instant case cannot be held as an authority to decide if the elections were free, fair and without judicial review. Further, it was argued by the petitioner that both the cases, that is Keshav Nanda Bharti and Shankari Prasad, did not cover the ambit of electoral disputes but were restricted to the meaning of the word amendment. There were certain major landmark judgments which were cited during the hearing of this suit. They being Raj Narain vs. State of Uttar Pradesh, Keshav Nanda Bharti vs. State of Kerala, Shankari Prasad Singh Dev vs. Union of India, Minerva Bills Limited and another vs. Union of India, and I.C. Golaknath and others vs. the State of Punjab and another. Coming to the most crucial point of this discussion, that is the judgment of the case. The court gave the judgment of this case on November 7, 1975. It must be kept in mind that this was the first case when the landmark decision of Keshav Nanda Bharti was applied by the apex court of the country. The apex court upheld the contention of the petitioner and declared that the impugned clause 4 of the Article 329A was unconstitutional. It was further held by Chief Justice Ray that the basic structure of the Constitution had been violated by the said amendment. That is, the rule of law had been done away through this amendment. Whereas Justice Khanna found that the violation of norms of free and fair elections also stands as a valid observation. The bench also found that the said amendment had violated principles of natural justice, that is, odi alteram partem, since it denied the right of fair hearing to anyone who was challenging the election mentioned under the amendment. What is the significance of this judgment? What is the reason that this judgment is still till date cited as one of the landmark decisions of the Supreme Court? The newspaper Times of India compared the verdict to firing the Prime Minister for a traffic ticket. The Congress also staged numerous protests across the country in support of Mrs. Indira Gandhi. On 25th June 1975, a state of emergency was declared by the President of India, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad, upon the advice of Prime Minister Gandhi. The government argued that the political disorder was a threat to national security. During this period, Gandhi's Congress used its parliamentary majority to amend the Indian Constitution and override the law that she had been found guilty of violating. When the government finally called the elections in 1977, the opposition Janata Party Alliance defeated Gandhi's Congress Party. Raj Narain defeated Indira Gandhi in Rai Bareli constituency by a margin of 55,200 electoral votes. So friends, I hope you gained a lot of knowledge in this video about this landmark judgment. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe our channel if you like the content of this video. Thank you.